Hi, everybody. Hi. Just got to hit that. We're live streaming here. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday night or morning or evening or wherever you are in the world. Welcome. I'm just going to check that we are streaming into the Facebook group, and then we will get chatting with Reshape graduate.
I have the notice.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I have the notice on my phone, Tracy.
Fantastic. That's excellent. Amazing. Okay, so I am going to just check my phone. If anybody has any questions, they can just put them in the chat. Or if you have any questions for Donna on the replay, just hit replay, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer them for you. Okay, so I am going to hit record and then we will get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome on this Thursday night. We are chatting. We are having our Reshape Roundup with Donna Bradbury, who is a Reshape Method graduate. Hi, Donna. How are you?
Good. Hi, Tracy. Hi, everybody.
Hi. When did you graduate from the Reshape Method? It's been a couple of months already, right?
It's been a couple of months. I think it was the end of November when I finished. Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? Where are you from? And what brought you to the Reshape Method?
Sure. So I am 54 years old. I'll be 55 in May. And I live in Albany, New York. That's in upstate New York. It's very cold and windy here right now. And the thing that brought me to the Reshape Method, I had a really rough perimenopause. It started when I was relatively young. I had a lot of symptoms, a lot of trouble, and as I got older, and then actually became menopausal, like many women, right? I struggled a lot with weight gain, like really rapid weight gain that was very stubborn weight gain that I couldn't seem to do anything about. And it didn't seem really connected to what I was eating or how I was eating. I put a lot of stress on myself. So I knew, I knew stress was a factor. I was always very fatigued. I was not sleeping well. I just didn't feel right. It was like I was at odds with my body. It was really rough. And I also found that it was really hard to get information from anywhere about like, what is this? Like, what is going on and what do I do about it? Even like my doctor and the gynecologist that I had at the time he's a man, right? And I wasn't getting a lot of answers, right? That seemed to make sense to me. Or people would say, well, you just need to eat, calories in, calories out. Like you just need to eat less and move more or whatever. And so, I've never been somebody who's honestly like super keen on exercise. I'm not a natural sort of exerciser. But I did at a certain point, like really buckle down and I went to the gym and I even got a personal trainer. It was, expensive. It was a big commitment of time, which was challenging for me, particularly at that time in my life. I was working a lot and it was like a big source of stress, actually. Like, okay, I need to go to the gym. I need to go work out. And I did that faithfully for 18 months, even though it was really hard. It was really expensive. It was time consuming, etc. But I really wanted to feel better. And what I found with that this was sort of traditional, like, weight training, aerobics, kind of a combination. And what I found was it did something for me. Certainly it did something. It gave me a little bit more energy, etc. But my body didn't really change, if that makes sense to people. I was certainly, I'm sure I was stronger, could lift heavier things or whatever. But the things that were bothering me about my body, and even about just how I was feeling, didn't really change. And that was very discouraging. So I quit. And then I tried things like yoga, and just other kinds of exercise that I could find maybe online or whatever. But nothing was really changing those like sort of stubborn menopausal symptoms that were bothering me. So that's what got me to the Reshape Method. I was introduced to Tracy. I was in her Facebook group for a long time, and then she offered I think it was a Sunday afternoon WebEx, and I listened in, and it was really compelling because what Tracy was saying, everything that you were saying, Tracy, I could identify with about all of these things that I tried and that had failed, and how I was feeling that wasn't changing. And so that's why I wanted to give Reshape a try.
Amazing. That's great. And I'm so pleased you did, because it was really incredible having you in the program, and watching your journey. I remember after a week or so in the program, you put up a post and you said, "This is the radically different approach I've been looking for." Do you remember that? Maybe you
I
could
do.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I do. So yeah, that's what I noticed right off the bat, even from the very first week when I did the first workout. Although I've said this to Tracy, I was like, oh, a workout, right? Like just even the word, right? And then I turn on your video and I see it's like, I don't know, 29 or 30 minutes long. And I'm like, oh, I almost had that moment of like, I've been duped. This is just like everything else. It's going to be one of those workouts and I'm going to sweat and I'm not going to feel any different. So I had that skepticism. But of course I did it. And I did the workout and I said, oh my gosh, wait a minute, this is radically different. Just the whole approach of it's not about like just kind of, okay, you got to sweat and work real hard. It's kind of like it's working smarter, not harder. That's kind of how I think about the workouts. It's some of the movements are very novel and different. So that for me is important because it held my interest. So it was different than other workouts. It was not like aggressive or high impact workout, but it was more relaxing. And I found after that first workout, like, oh, I feel really good. Like not like, okay, I did this workout, so my body is all invigorated. It was more like relaxing, and the stress that I had been carrying around from the day had melted away. And so I came to think of those workouts more as self-care, like not as exercise or even working out. It's more about like, oh, this is my half an hour to be providing myself with self-care, because I really did feel so much better afterward. And then and physically, it was just interesting that I could feel myself, maybe kind of paying attention to muscles that I hadn't thought about or knew that I was realized, right, that I was underutilizing those muscles. And it was just really interesting to me, even from sort of just like from an intellectual point of view, it was kind of interesting. So that was what led me to say this is radically different, because it really is a different approach to movement.
Fantastic. And I love what you also told me, that that your whole kind of mindset shifted from exercise feeling like it was this obligation, this thing that you had to do, another thing on your to-do list, to this new way of being now, where it's just relief, where you feel more integrated with movement in your life, and more aligned in your body, mind, and soul. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I mean, I think first of all, a huge takeaway for me is that you don't have to wait until you get home and do the workout, right? Like that it's really like sort of a holistic approach that even when I'm standing, I do have a standing desk at work, and I did have a standing desk even before I did Tracy's program, but even when I'm standing at my desk at work, I can incorporate little movements that are good for my body, that are strengthening muscles, that are helping me to burn calories, or even the way I walk down the hall to fill up my water bottle at the water fountain, walking more in alignment, using my muscles differently, getting more of a powerful walk, even just down the hall. And certainly that concept of sort of just taking care of myself, right? Like just be that really taking charge of my body again, I think is that overwhelming feeling for me, that menopause like seemed to like hit me like a truck, right? I didn't have any control over what was happening to my body. And the Reshape method has really allowed me to just take charge of how I move, how I think about, how I'm caring for myself. And even some of the releases, the stretches that Tracy teaches us, that is just time when I can meditate and just calm myself and feel good about doing it. It's not, oh, I don't have to feel guilty. Oh, I'm taking time out of something else to, do this thing. It's time for me that I've reframed the whole thing. Like I function much better when I take this time and I take care of my body, and I also am taking care of my, my mind at the same time. And it's very different place than I was in before.
Which is crucial for us at this age. And you also mentioned to me that one of the first big changes you noticed with the program was the effect that it was having on your sleep.
Yes, huge. Yeah, I was having so much trouble sleeping and just relaxing. I do, maybe other women can relate to this. I don't have trouble getting to sleep, but I have trouble staying asleep. And so that was a big problem before the Reshape program. And what I found myself doing was doing the workouts in the evening. And it just kind of worked out that way, that timing wise, but it also helped me to relax before going to bed. And then I found that I was much more able to stay asleep and get more productive rest out of my sleep. And now that I'm done with the program, even on days when I don't do one of the workouts, I've been in the habit of doing some of the simple stretches that are components of the workouts. For example, like the cat-cow stretch is one of my favorites. So in the evening, particularly, like it's been a rough day and I haven't like really been good about setting aside the time to do one of the structured workouts. I'll just do, I'll get on the floor in my bedroom before I go to bed and do like 5 or 6 or 7 cat-cow stretches, and concentrate on my breathing. That's not been a huge thing too, like realizing that I really could be getting a lot more out of my breathing. And I think that definitely helps with cortisol levels, stress levels.
Mm-hmm.
And I can actually feel the difference in my body after I do those stretches and really breathe. And then I can rest better.
Yeah. Right. And in terms of the breathing and the cat-cow, some people may be thinking, okay, I've done the breathing, I've done the cat-cow, but something that you mentioned a lot during the program was that you said, I didn't know what I didn't know, right?
Yes.
You'd been to yoga, you'd done a lot of kind of breath type of work and movement kind of work, but that when you did the Reshape method, you realized, oh, actually, there's a whole nother level to this.
Whole nother level. Absolutely. And yeah, that's another thing that's unique about when I early on in the program doing the workouts, the movement seemed like so simple, but you realize it's profoundly different than how you'd been moving. And I was thinking back to yoga classes that I was in, where I realized, oh my gosh, I wasn't even getting the full benefit out of these movements because my alignment was messed up, and I wasn't like focusing right on using the right muscle group or what have you, where I was being sort of lazy about it, okay, I can,
Right.
right, I can make that pose, but I'm like faking it sort of. And yeah, and I really feel it now that I've graduated from the reshape program, and I go back and do those earlier weeks of the workouts and say, oh yeah, like, wow, like now I can approach this in a much more in a different way, because I get it now, right? Like I know now, I know a little bit about what I didn't know before.
Amazing. That's fantastic. And speaking of alignment, let's go to alignment, okay?
Yep.
Because in the program, I know I get a lot of pushback from people in week 1 when I ask them to take their before alignment pictures. So we take before pictures in the program. This is not a bikini body kind of thing where we're taking pictures for before and after. A lot of people struggle taking their before pictures. But the reason why we want the before pictures is because at the end of the program, you send me your before pictures and your after pictures, and I mark them up with my little red alignment lines, and I show them to you on your wrap-up session. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. So this is, yeah, definitely don't be afraid of the pictures, because this was profound. It really was amazing. Like I took the before pictures, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know that's what I look like, right? And when I did the 12 weeks, right, and took the after pictures, and I'm looking at them going, okay, like I can see some things to my untrained eyes, right? Like I can see some things that look different. Like for example, my feet are now nice hip width apart. I used to carry my feet very narrow. So I could see some things, but then Tracy did her her magic red lines on the photos, and we talked about it. And Tracy, I remember you said, like, the way I had been carrying myself previously was almost like a pregnant woman, right? Like,
right.
so
And you were 18 years postpartum.
yes, exactly, only 18 years. And so it was really interesting to hear her feedback, like, her analysis of the pictures, and then looking at it together with her and saying, oh yeah, wow, look at that. And it was almost like magical. Like, how did that happen? Like, I know I just did this 12-week program, but it's not like I was like, oh, okay, now you're gonna, right? Like now you're gonna work on your alignment. It just kind of happens, right? If you're diligent about doing the workouts and about doing the releases, like your body responds to it. It's really amazing. It's almost like my body wanted it. And my body's saying, it's about time you figured this out. Yeah, it was really neat.
And that alignment is really key. How do you feel that things have changed or different in your life now that you're moving around with this better alignment?
I mean, look, I feel better. I feel like I carry myself better. I feel like I like kind of look better in my clothes. Even it's not like people like drop a lot of weight and you look so different in your clothes. It's not like that. It's kind of more how I carry myself, which is really like sort of empowering. So that's interesting. And it's something I don't think that ever would have occurred to me before. It's not anything I really thought about. So I think I carry myself differently. I know I do. I think I just think about also just how I'm moving, or how I think about my alignment now, like on my posture, in a more like sensible way, right? Not like the old fashioned, like your mother saying, put your shoulders back, that kind of thing. It's much more holistic than that. And I also am cognizant of, if I've been chair sitting too much in a particular day, or if I was, in my car a lot or something like that, how I should think about, right? Like, okay, let me make sure that I'm thinking about like doing my stretches and stuff so I can get back into alignment, because that can throw you off. Or even with Tracy's advice, I started to wear some minimal sneakers, and wearing heels a lot less often. Although I do occasionally still wear heels, because then we talked about this a little bit, right? It's like, part of a look or style or whatever. And I am very, very sensitive to that now, that I have to pay extra attention to my body if I've been wearing heels during the day, right? So that I don't start falling into some, poor pattern of alignment again.
Yeah.
So I never would have thought about that beforehand.
Yes. Amazing. So what would you say to somebody who is thinking of joining the Reshape Method, because we have a trial coming up, and who's maybe skeptical or also worried about time? Time is a big thing that I hear from ladies in our age group, because we're the sandwich generation. We've got, our elderly parents or relatives to look after. We still got, kids or nieces or nephews, doesn't matter how old they are. They still need attention, right? And then we've got our jobs and the stress of our lives. So time and motivation is often a big thing that I hear. What would you say to somebody who had those types of concerns about the Reshape Method?
Well, I had those concerns. I was skeptical because I tried so many things before that didn't work. And I was worried about my own motivation and my own ability to carve out time. So I was worried about all those things. And what I can say to you is, once you give it a chance, you'll have that moment like I did. Like, this is really different. It is radically different. And the whole thing I think your whole mindset will shift, like mine did, because it's just, there's this shift from, okay, this is something I should do, right? Because whatever, it's good for me or whatever, to this is something I actually want to do. The workouts are something that I actually want to do. And as you progress through the program, you realize you can incorporate all kinds of movement, like pretty much any time of day, like throughout your entire day, no matter what you're doing. If you're standing in line somewhere at the grocery store, or if you're, at work, or, if you're walking between your car and the grocery store, like whatever you're doing, you can adjust the way you are using your body so that you're maximizing that time. And so they're maximizing that movement. So you don't have to necessarily set aside huge amounts of time in your day to do this. I really felt like, I have a job, I have, 2 kids, a husband, I have, a dog, like I have all these responsibilities and all this, there's always something to do. And so I was one of those people that was like, I don't have time to, take care of myself. But once you make that shift of like, oh, well, I can kind of like do this at the same time that I'm doing those things that I have to do, and enjoy doing it and feel better. And then that kind of becomes a vicious cycle in a good way, right? Where like, oh, this feels good, so I am going to do more, I am going to do like the monster steps more often, or whatever it is. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. But I think once you give it a try and you realize how reinforcing it is, then suddenly you can carve out time. And the other piece of it for me is like, okay, like I'm, pushing 55, like I want to age well. Like we all see women all around us, right? They have mobility problems, or they have flexibility problems or whatever. And, if you want to be as healthy as possible, if you want to be as active as possible, if you want to enjoy your old age, as I shouldn't say old age, if you want to enjoy yourself
The
as
third
you
age.
get older, then that for me is a motivator too. So that's what really keeps me going.
Yeah, because it's a whole different way to move and live. It's not just an exercise program, right? And I think you said when we were chatting that you found that surprising about the program. You weren't expecting that.
Right. I was not expecting that at all. And the other part that I should mention too is just being in a partnership with the other women in the group too, like just the little Facebook exchanges are really motivating too. And you see how other women are, getting the great results, and they feel good about themselves, and they're making time for themselves, and they're all struggling with the same things that we all are, right? Like balancing all these responsibilities and time constraints and all that stuff. And then you see other women being successful. So that's rewarding too.
Fantastic. It's so funny. I'm listening to myself talking to you here, and now I understand why. And maybe you can talk a little bit about that. You sent me this beautiful bracelet after you finished the program. Yours says audacious and mine says amazing. All right. And I realized I say amazing a lot.
You do. I love that.
This was so touching. And what I love is that we really do have this sisterhood and this relationship and this love among the people in the Reshape Method. It is
totally
a connection that goes way beyond. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your audacious bracelet and my amazing one that you sent me.
I'm so glad you said it, because we're both wearing it. That's great. Mm-hmm. So I have a friend who does this. It's called My Intent. They're these little, it's like a brass washer, very simple, but you choose a word that can, like, your intent for the year or for whatever, and you can stamp it yourself. She has this little set of, like pegs with the letters on it, and you bang it. It's kind of fun. It's kind of therapeutic just to make it, because you get to bang the nails, and you choose whatever word you want. And so I was at this event with my friend, and she was letting us all make a bracelet. And I said, I know exactly what my word is. It's audacious, because Tracy always talks about aging audaciously. And I just love that. And it so captures the phase of my life that I'm in right now. And then I was like, I got to make one of these for Tracy, and it has to say amazing, because that's her word. That's her. I can't hear that word without thinking of you, Tracy. And other women in the Facebook group have said this, that they can hear your voice, Tracy, in their head. Like if they're whatever, having a moment or whatever, I can hear Tracy say amazing.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. In fact, I think I should be in touch with your friend and have audacious and amazing bracelets made for all the Reshape Method graduates, because that's what you really are. You really are audacious and amazing. And I just thank you so much for having trust in me and in the program, and going on this journey with me. And it's a journey for the rest of our lives, right? Which is why you have ongoing access to the dashboard, and if you wish, ongoing access to the group. So maybe let's end on that. In terms of this, it's not just a 12-week program. And I keep saying that. Once you're in the program, I keep saying to you, it's not just a 12-week program.
Right. Absolutely.
So how do you feel that do you think that this is going to be a journey for the rest of your life? What does it set you up for?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like it's like you can't not know this now, right? Like it's, there's things that there's things that you uncover in your life journey, and some of them, there's just like no turning back, right? So I feel like this is one of those things. Like, sure, there's going to be days when like I don't work out, or I don't don't do the stretches. Like there's going to be plenty of those days, but as a whole, I've incorporated this into my way of thinking, about my life, and that's never going to go away. And that makes me feel great. And that is truly radically different from any other kind of, exercise or any kind of program that I did before, because nothing ever did that for me before. But now I feel like I feel like there's still things that I'm learning and can learn about this. But, Tracy has there's so much like information about, how your body works and how you can move differently. And I love it. I just think it's so enlightening. And again, it kind of goes back to that you can actually sort of take charge, right, of your body and what you're doing, and in a way that is not stressful, that is actually the opposite of stressful. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming to chat with us. Really appreciate it. It's been an absolute joy meeting you and having you in the program and in the Facebook group. And as I say at the end of the workouts, thank you for reshaping with me.
Thanks, Tracy.
I hope to see you soon in the Facebook group and on the coaching calls. And really just so much love. All the best. We'll chat soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.